guys, thanks for stopping by my channel. So today we are going to show you, I'm going to show you, there's only me here, how to do a few different designs using chrome pigments, chrome flakies, some mylar paper. I've got some marbling in here. So here's the design right here. So if this is something you're interested in, keep watching and let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click all of those buttons and stay tuned. Okay, so for this design, you are going to need a clear acrylic and also a white acrylic. And then also you are going to need whatever semi-transparent or complete cover pink, cover peach, whatever you would use to make your baby boomer nails. Now I always use a custom mix one. I use 2 parts cover pink and 1 part crystal pink. I've mentioned this in other videos. Now if you don't have crystal pink, you can also just use clear and add a very teensy bit of neon pink pigment. Just make sure you use your mortar and pestle to really grind that pigment in there so it blends in. And I do this simply because I like my cover pinks to have just a little bit more of a pink hue to them as opposed to a peach hue. And I also prefer a semi-transparent pink just because I find it blends nicer. I do have an ombre video that I'm going to be posting and it'll kind of explain that a little bit better in there. So you'll need that. Obviously, monomer of choice, whatever you use. I'm using the Vibrato monomer currently, and also your favorite acrylic brush, which I am still using, the big one from JOHENS. It's a number 12. I love it. It's a really nice brush. I got it at the Pink Chair in Saskatoon. And then we're going to move into the fun part, the art stuff. So we're going to start with the LUMINAURA AURORA. So this is a fine unicorn chrome. This was one of the very first ones that came out in our industry, and I purchased it I think I purchased it when it first came out, so I don't even know, what is it, like 3 years ago? So I've still got a little tiny bit left. This stuff lasts so long, it goes a long way because you don't have to use very much. Now I got this at the Pink Chair in Saskatoon as well. I don't know if she still carries it, and I also know that after LUMINAURA came out with this one, they came out with an even finer one. So I will try to see if she has them and link them, and if not, I'll try to see if I can find something else that I can link for you guys. But basically you want a unicorn fine chrome powder, and then we're going to go into the same color scheme and we are going to get a medium chrome powder. So I'm just going to show you the difference between the two. You can see here it's a lot finer. I would say this is a fine and this would be like a medium. You can see there's a slight difference there. So obviously this one is from the Born Pretty store. Again, most of my stuff, you guys, I have purchased so many years ago, so I'm going to try to find links to everything, but if I can't, I'm so sorry. I'll try to find replacements, but yes, you want more of a medium, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a grit, I guess, medium texture to it. And basically what I've done with that one is I've just taken it in a little pot here and I mixed it with clear acrylic, so it is ready to go. And then you need another one, which is more of a chunky flake. So I guess I will show you the difference between the medium and then this one. Again, quite significant, you can see. Again, I got this one forever ago, and I have tried to find a replacement, and I cannot find like it on the Born Pretty store, on eBay. I cannot find this one. So I am going to link one below from the Pink Chair, excuse me, in Saskatoon again, from JOHENS. It's called, I believe it's called Angel Flakes. So I'm going to link that one because I haven't purchased it yet, but when I looked at it this morning, it does look like it's the exact same one. And the thing is, there's so many flakes and chromes out there. Like, as you know, I have the unicorn chrome from JOHENS, but it's got more of a pink, purple, green hue to it, and the color that we're kind of going for today, the color scheme, is more of a blue, pink, and purple, sort of like that original unicorn or aurora borealis tone. So I've also got some of this mylar paper. Again, I've had it forever. I haven't even used it. I just opened it today. It was still in the plastic. I'm trying to pull things out of my drawer that I haven't used in a long time or have never used. So this is the color scheme that we're going for. So again, it just comes in sort of a piece of long paper like this, and this is what we're going to use to do those crinkle effect. But as you can see, when I turn it in the light, it's got that purple, blue, pink hue to it. So that's the color scheme we're going for. So that's what we've got for the colors. Then of course you're going to need a little brush to apply your chrome. I just use this guy, I don't even know, it says right there, unitednails.com. I've had this forever. I only use it just to apply chromes. And then I also will use a little finger condom just to burnish the chrome in on the nails that I need to burnish it. Now, of course, if you had your gloves on while you were working with clients, you would just use your gloved finger for that. And you are going to need also some type of a tack-free top coat, whatever you use to apply your chromes. This is actually called Power Seal by Elite, but I dropped acetone and it took the whole label and ruined it, so I just wrote it on there. I know there's another one, AKZENTZ Shine On, I believe, is the one that most people use to apply their chrome. So if you have that, go ahead and use that. Whatever tack-free top coat that you use to burnish or apply your chromes when you rub them in, that's the top coat you want for that. And you are also going to need a chunky glitter in the same color scheme. I've got this one from KIARA Sky. I got it again at the pink chair, and the number on it is SP204 Halo. And you are also going to need a glue to apply your MYLAR paper. We're going to need that. I've got this one from KIARA Sky, and I've used it a couple times. It's pretty brand new to me, so but I've used it and I like it. It works really well. And then whatever top coat you choose to use, I'm going to use, obviously, my trusty Young Nail Stain Resistant, still my #1 go-to, and I believe that is it. So hang on in there, guys, and we're going to get started. Okay, guys, so we are going to start with the thumbnail, and the thumbnail has a sort of an ombre effect with the Crinkle MYLAR unicorn paper. So basically what you want to do is you take your paper and you just want to cut it roughly to size. So what I do is I just place it on the nail, I place the nail on top of the paper, and then you just want to cut around it. It's a little bit, you know, not difficult, but you got to hold it in place and then just cut around to basically get the shape of the nail. Now, the one thing you want to make sure when you are doing this nail is you do not want the paper to go all the way to the edge of the nail. You don't want it to go all the way to the edge of the sidewalls or the free edge. We want it to be a little bit smaller. So what I'm going to do after I kind of, oh sorry, I'm out of frame. So there, I've got it kind of cut, you know, to size, pretty good. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it even smaller because I do not want it to be, like I said, all the way to the edge. And the reason for that is because you want the, although we're gluing it down, I still find that I like to have a little bit of an edge left so that the acrylic really seals around it. I just find you get better durability and wearability out of it, and it breaks down a lot less when you do that. So then basically you just take your paper and you crinkle it up as much or as little as you want. You just grab it and squish it and pinch it into a little tiny ball, roll it between your fingers, and you end up with something that looks like that. And then you just want to grab your tweezers and pull it apart. Now, of course, you want to be a little careful. You don't want to pull too hard. Sometimes it's hard to find, you know, how it lays, but just pull it apart gently and make sure that, there we go, we've got it pulled all the way out, and you can see it's got that very cool crinkled effect. Now, of course, this does not lay down very nicely, so that's why we need the glue. So then you're going to take your nail and apply your glue. And I usually start at the tip, and I'll just place this down. I don't apply the glue all the way just because it dries so quickly that I don't want it to dry before I can get it applied. And then I just use my finger. Of course, you would want to have your gloves on. You just want to make sure that that glue is there. Now this one I probably could have cut even smaller, just because I would have liked to have a little more of a ledge here, you can see, but for this it's not really a big deal because it's not on a person. But yeah, you would want to make sure that it's tested out and make sure that it's small enough. So then I'm just going to go back in and finish putting the rest of the glue on. Again, just laying this back and making sure that it's laid down nicely. Now because we're ombreing this one and we're adding glitter and such to this area, it doesn't matter, you know, if it's crooked or anything like that. All right, so that part is done. Now we're going to move into the acrylic. I'm just going to make sure I shut my glue because we don't want that drying up on me. All right, so I have got my monomer here, and I'm just going to move this up here, and I've got my mix that I made, and I've got my chunky glitters here, and then of course we are going to need our clear to cap. Gonna pop that guy open. All right, so now what you want to do is take your acrylic brush, dip it in your monomer, and you're not going to need a lot of this, but we are just going to take a little bit of this little custom mix here, and we're going to apply it just in the area so we can kind of blend an ombre, fade, whatever you want to call it. And we're just going to add it and fade it down, pull it down just a little bit. We don't want to cover too much of that crinkle because it's just such a pretty thing, right? We don't want to cover that. That's the whole point of this nail. And then we're going back in with our chunks, and we're just going to add a few of our chunks again, just to kind of ombre that. And like, I mean, even just look how pretty that is. It's so, so pretty. So now basically all we have to do is go in and cap with clear, and I am going to obviously fast forward through that because that's boring. Okay, so moving on to the pointer finger, we are just going to take white acrylic, and basically we are just going to kind of blob it on. We're not really doing anything in any major pattern or anything. We're just kind of putting little dots here and there and blotching it on, and then kind of blending it and fading it out. And we're just going to add those little bits all over. It's almost like a marbling, but not really. You could totally just do marbling. I just wanted to do something a little different, and it's, you know, pretty easy to do. And then we're going to go in with our semi-transparent pink and just kind of go over them a little bit, covering some of the white and not some of the white. Just basically filling in the areas that don't have white. Now you want to keep this very thin, and it's okay if you overlap some of the white with the pink. It's absolutely okay. We kind of want that because we're going to be doing the chrome over top of this. And again, if you feel like you want to add a little white here and there, I'm going to add a little bit there and a little bit here. You absolutely can. And then we're just going to go in with our clear and cap that. Okay, so for this nail, we are going to do the ombre nail with a little bit of glitter. So you're going to need your white, your cover pink, or semi-transparent pink like I'm using, and basically do an ombre how you would do an ombre nail. I'm going to post my video how I do ombres. I do them in two different ways, and I'm going to just do the one method today, obviously. So I'm going to start with my white, and I'm just going to grab a bead of acrylic here, and then we are going to apply it to the tip of the nail and feather it upwards. So you want to keep this fairly thin, and you just want to, I'm going to feather it down and then also feather it up. And this is a very long nail, so you know, you want to go about halfway with the white. I like to do about half and half, and of course I'm going to add a little bit more to the tip just because that was missing color, and we don't want that. We want it to all have the white. So just like that, very, very simple. And I'm just going to tap it out to the side here a little bit and pull it just because it wasn't really covering. Now ideally you want to let that dry. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to move on and hopefully it'll just work out. But you're going to grab your cover pink or whatever cover peach you use, peach pink, semi-transparent like I use. And now you're going to start at the cuticle area and feather it down. Now on a long nail like this, especially if you're kind of new to doing nails, I would start with a bead in the middle of the nail first and tap it in and then feather it downwards and just blend it towards that free edge. Now this is a bit of a softer look because the pink does go a bit over the tip, and then I like to feather it up towards the cuticle area because I find sometimes if you just leave that bead the way that it was without sort of feathering it and then you put a second bead, sometimes you can actually see a little bit of a line in there between the two applications. So I do like to feather it up excuse me, before I apply my second bead at the cuticle area. So that's what I'm going to do now. And of course, you know, you just want to apply it very carefully around the cuticle. I mean, I'm working on a tip here, so it's a little easier, you know, to be a little bit messier and not be so careful. But when you are working on a client, you do not want to be, you know, using super wet acrylic and constantly wiping the finger, you know, on the side or around the skin. You don't want to be doing that. I see that in videos all the time, and that is not the correct way to be applying product. So just be very cautious not to get it on the client's skin. And then we are going to go in with some, some of the glitter. So I'm going to use that medium-sized flakes for the little bit of the center here, and we are just going to add those and sort of blend them upwards and a little bit downwards. Now if you want more white on your nail, which you absolutely can, I would bring that white up to about 3/4 of the way. For this design, I didn't want too much white. I want it to just be a little tiny bit. So then I'm going to go in with my chunks from KIARA Sky and add those as well. Same process, we're just adding a little bit and kind of blending and fading them downwards over the white. So now obviously you're wanting to keep these layers as thin as possible because you're going to go back in and cap with clear, and you don't want to have a super bulky nail. Now obviously working on long nails like this, you have a lot more room to work with, so you can make them bigger, or excuse me, thicker. But if you have a little short nail, you know, something like here, you do not want to have a big chiclet nail. So just be cautious of that depending on the size of the nail you're working on to make sure that you keep the product nice and thin. So I'm going to go in and cap with clear. Okay guys, so for the ring finger, we are doing another crinkle paper nail. So I've just cut my unicorn mylar like I showed you with the thumbnail. Now this one I was a little more cautious as to making sure that I had a bit more of an edge just to seal around. Now I might have went a little too far on this one, but basically you just want to have enough of a ledge so that the acrylic seals really well around the product. And it doesn't matter, you know, if you have an edge. I mean, when clients are showing people their nails, they're not showing them from the sides. So basically, I've got this cut. I'm going to glue it. I'll fast forward through that because I already showed you that process on the thumbnail. And then we'll get ready to basically just cap it in clear. So for the Pinkie nail, we are doing a marble nail, which I love doing. Again, it's a very easy design to do. It does not take a lot of time and you don't have to be perfect at it. So it's a great design to do if you are, you know, shorter on time, and again, it gives a nice impact and it's like beautiful. So what you're going to do is dip your brush into the clear. And the ratio I like to use is about 3/4 clear to 1/4 white. You can see it there. I hope you can see it. If it'll zoom in, I don't know. Is it zooming? Well, you can kind of see it there, but I've got more clear than I do white. I'm just going to re-dip in because you do want it to be a bit of a wetter bead. So I'm going to do that again. And I just drop it. I usually start in the middle of the nail. I know lots of client or nail techs will start at the cuticle, whichever you prefer. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I do both. Just depends on my mood. And then you just marble them together. So I'm going to zoom in. I just wanted to zoom out so I could show you how I pick up my beads, but I'm going to zoom in now so you can get a better look of what I'm doing. Now, if you want more white, you can do half and half. Again, it's totally up to you. I prefer to have, because we've got the clear tip, I prefer to have more clear just so that it's very light and subtle. And then you just continue going on down the nail and doing the same thing. Now you can do them at an angle like I'm doing. And again, sorry to stop there, but you want to make sure that you're not building this layer too thick, again, because you're going to cap it in clear. But what I was saying is you could go at an angle like I'm going at. It's usually the way that I go, and then when I do the other hand, I do the opposite direction. But you could go up and down, you know, vertical. You could go straight across and marble. I've done one where it's in a triangular pattern. Again, there's no rhyme or reason. However you want to marble, you go ahead. That's the great thing about doing nails, is we get to be very creative. And if you have clients that let you kind of pick and choose what you want, that's even better. So there we go. We've got a very simple marble. Now I'm going to go into those medium flakes with the acrylic mix, and I'm just going to add some in here, just in the same direction that I did with the white and clear. And just here and there, and if your acrylic is wet and you get a little, oh, I just picked up a little bit of that paper there. If you get a little bit of an indent or something, it's totally okay because you're going to be capping with the clear acrylic. And then I'm going to go in with these chunky flakes, which we haven't used them yet because I purposely pulled them out just for this design. And I'm just going to add a few in a few different spots. I'm not going to really create them into a lined pattern or anything. It's going to be more of like a splotch, I guess you would say, a little dot of the chunkier ones, the chunkier flakes here and there. And just play around and add them as you please. No matter what, it's going to turn out pretty damn nice, let me tell you that much. All right, so that is that. Now I'm going to cap and clear. Okay guys, so I've got all of the nails finish filed, shaped, and buffed, and now I'm going to go back in on this one and we're going to apply the chrome, and then I will do some good old top coat porn for you guys and top coat all of them and show you the end result. Okay guys, so I have applied my tack-free top coat, cured it for 1 minute, but again, you guys use whichever one that you guys normally use, cure it for the duration that is required. And then I'm just going to tap in my chrome pigment here with my brush, and I really, really want to tap it in. I know lots of people will just use those little makeup eyeshadow applicators because they usually come with the chrome, and I use those too. I just had my brush out today, so that's why I'm using my brush, but you just want to really get it tapped in there. And then I'm going to use my little finger condom, or like I said, if you have your gloves on, just use your glove. And I'm just going to really rub it in with that finger. Now, one thing you want to be careful, if you have long nails like I do, you don't want to bend your finger at all because you might end up scraping the powder, the chrome, excuse me. I have done that and it sucks. So I've got that all chromed and pretty, and now I'm going to apply top coat to all of the nails. All right, so here is the thumbnail. I want to see if I can get focused really good. I don't know if I can. Let's see. Alright, so let's do some top coat porn. Show the reveal. It is so pretty. Such a pretty nail. So this is the thumbnail. And look at that bad boy. So cool. I'm going to stick that in the lamp and cure it. And move on to the pointer finger. Now, what I will say about this one is I have not done the best job of shaping and buffing. I kind of rushed through it because it's a video, but obviously you can see here there's some little divots. You want to make sure when you work on a client you do not have that, obviously. You want everything to be smooth. So my bad on this, guys. It's not the most perfect file job, finished file job. There's a little bit of bumpiness to it, but it tells you, or it shows you just what you're gonna get when you do the chrome. Again, super pretty. LUMINAURA is a very, very pretty. Oh, how many times can I say pretty? Pretty nail. Okay, I'm gonna stick that in the light. And now we're gonna move on to the middle finger. Oh, that's the wrong one, my bad. This is the middle finger. So we've got the ombre. The ombre with the glitter. Again, a very nice nail, very simple design, and very pretty. I love the word pretty today. All right, look at that guy. Ooh, so sparkly, so nice. And on short nails, all of these designs work totally fine. They look beautiful. And here's the ring finger with the full crinkle paper. Again, as I mentioned, you could do some glitter around the edge to hide that edge if you cut the paper too small like I did. And you could do stamping over top of this, a white design, a white stamp would look nice, or over any of them. As I mentioned, you can add all kinds of embellishments. But look at that, it's such a cool effect. During winter, this is a really cool effect to make like icicle nails. You can use things like that. I'm gonna stick that in there and cure as well. And then last but not least, we've got our Pinkie nail, which is the marble nail. Again, really pretty with that little bit of flaky bits added to it. Just adds a nice little effect, a little extra zhuzh for the nail. There we go. So I'm going to cure this one as well, and then I'll come back and show you guys them all together.